Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Speaking Gym. I am really happy you are here with me today. Today, we are going to train our English while learning something fascinating about the universe. Our topic today is why space has no sound. Put on your headphones, relax your shoulders, take a slow breath, and let's begin shadowing together. When I first watched movies about space, I noticed something interesting. Explosions were loud. Spaceships roared through space. Asteroids crashed with huge sounds. But later, I learned something surprising. In real life, space is completely silent. Even the biggest explosion in space would make no sound. At first, this idea felt strange to me. How can something so powerful happen without any noise? To understand this, I first need to understand what sound actually is. Sound is a type of vibration. When something makes a sound, it causes nearby particles to move back and forth. These movements create waves. These waves travel through a substance until they reach our ears. Our ears detect these waves, and our brain interprets them as sound. For example, when I clap my hands, the air around my hands vibrates. Those vibrations move through the air. Eventually, the waves reach your ears. That is how you hear the sound of the clap. The important thing to remember is that sound needs a medium. A medium is the material through which sound travels. Air is the most common medium for sound on Earth. But sound can also travel through water. It can travel through metal. It can even travel through the ground. As long as there are particles that can vibrate, sound can move from one place to another. On Earth, our planet's atmosphere provides the perfect medium. The atmosphere is the layer of gases surrounding our planet. Because of this atmosphere, sound waves can travel easily. This is why we hear voices, music, thunder, and wind. Even animals communicate using sound. Birds sing. Dogs bark. People speak to each other. All of these sounds move through the air around us. But space is very different from Earth. Space is almost completely empty. Scientists call this emptiness a vacuum. In a vacuum, there are very few particles. There is no air. There is almost no matter at all. Because there are no particles to vibrate, sound waves cannot travel. This is the key reason space has no sound. Let me imagine a situation. Suppose I am floating outside a spaceship. Far away, I see another spacecraft explode. There would be a bright flash of light. Pieces of metal might fly in every direction, but I would not hear anything. There would be no boom, no crash, no noise at all. The explosion would happen in complete silence. Astronauts experience this silence when they travel in space. When they go outside the spacecraft during a spacewalk, they cannot hear anything through space itself. If they want to communicate with each other, they must use radios. Radio communication does not rely on sound waves. Instead, it uses electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves can travel through empty space. This is how astronauts talk to each other and communicate with mission control on Earth. Interestingly, scientists can sometimes convert signals from space into sounds that humans can hear. These sounds are not actual sound waves traveling through space. Instead, they are measurements of energy waves or vibrations detected by instruments. Scientists record these signals and transform them into audio. In other words, they translate space data into sound so we can experience it. For example, some planets produce powerful radio signals. Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, creates strong electromagnetic waves because of its magnetic field. Space probes have detected these signals. Scientists converted them into audio recordings. When we listen to them, they sound like strange whistles or crackling noises. But those sounds are not traveling through space. They are simply translations of electromagnetic data. Another interesting example comes from black holes. In some galaxy clusters, scientists observed pressure waves moving through hot gas. These waves behaved somewhat like sound waves in that gas. Researchers converted the signals into audio frequencies. The result was an extremely deep sound. However, the real frequency was far below what human ears can hear. Scientists had to raise the pitch millions of times before we could listen to it. Even though space itself has no sound, planets with atmospheres can carry sound. For instance, Mars has a thin atmosphere made mostly of carbon dioxide. Because the atmosphere is so thin, sound behaves differently there. NASA sent microphones with some Mars missions. These microphones recorded the sound of Martian wind moving across the planet's surface. The sound is quiet and soft, very different from the strong winds we hear on Earth. When I think about the silence of space, I find it both mysterious and peaceful. Imagine looking out at billions of stars with complete silence around you. No wind, no voices, no background noise, just endless darkness and distant light. It is almost impossible to imagine because our lives on Earth are always filled with sound. Understanding why space has no sound also helps scientists design space missions. Engineers cannot depend on sound to detect problems outside a spacecraft. Instead, they rely on sensors and cameras. These instruments measure temperature, pressure, radiation, and movement. Technology replaces our natural senses when we explore the vacuum of space. Let me explain the main idea again in a simple way. Sound is a vibration that travels through a medium. A medium can be air, water, or any material containing particles. Space is almost a perfect vacuum. There are almost no particles there.
Because of that, sound waves cannot travel. This is why space is silent. Even though space is silent, the universe is still incredibly active. Stars explode. Galaxies collide. Black holes pull in matter. Planets form from clouds of gas and dust. All of these dramatic events happen in complete silence. It is like watching an enormous movie with the volume turned off. For me,